What is up, guys? Drew Martin here talking SEC football for Saturday, October 2nd. We got a full slate here, 8 games going, and going to hit them all in about 10 minutes or less. That's what I'm aiming to do. Guys, in recap, year-to-date, 17-9 doing this video. That's 65% on the season, and 3-0 in the best bets. So hopefully we continue the good profitable year in the SEC video in terms of picking each and every game against the spread. Arkansas, Georgia leading us off here, 12 noon Eastern kickoff in Athens. It's on ESPN here, guys. It's probably the game of the day in the SEC in terms of, where these two teams are ranked. But overall, it's 49.5 being the total. Georgia minus 17 at home as the favorite. My bet in this one is on the over of 49.5. Now, Georgia's defense is good. It's always tough to kind of bet them over. But the fact is, I think that they're going to be able to score against Arkansas's defense. Arkansas, their quarterback, Jefferson, I think he'll be able to play. I think he's questionable as of now. He would help. But really, sidewise, I think that this is a tough one because I don't think it sets up well for Arkansas to perform well in Athens. But at the same time, I don't like going up against teams that are 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread. That's Arkansas. They've been covering numbers, making money. And Kirby Smart going for Georgia, he just won last week 62-0. His yards per play, number one in the country, talking about Georgia and their margin that their yards per play every time they snap the ball, better than their opponent. Their defensive line, very good, but overall, I think Arkansas is able to punch it in the end zone a couple times. And this over, 49.5 in today's college football is not very high at all. So Arkansas, Georgia over 49.5 to start us off. Tennessee and Missouri, second game up, 12 noon Eastern on SEC Network. Missouri, minus 2.5 point favorites, 65.5 being the total. Missouri's at home here. And that's the reason I'm going on the Tigers. Minus 2.5. We get that key number right under 3. And look, guys, I don't love this play. Out of all the games we're talking about, this is probably the one I like the least. But the fact is, both of these head coaches, I think, are a little bit in over their head. Josh Heupel coming from UCF. I think he got kind of lucky because the AD came from UCF to Tennessee, and he just kind of hired what he knew there. And same thing with Drinkowitz at Missouri. He took over for Scott Satterfield at App State and only had 1 year just kind of keeping the ball rolling, and then he gets an SEC job. I'm actually looking to bet against both of these two teams, but they're playing each other, making a pick on each and every game. It's always tough to bet on the team that's lost 7 of their last 8 against the spread. The fact is they're at home under a field goal, though. I'll go with the Missouri Tigers minus 2.5. Now we're getting into big boy football here. Ole Miss and Alabama, 3:30 on CBS, 79 being the total. Alabama minus 14.5 point favorites in Tuscaloosa. I'm going with the Ole Miss Rebels as the underdog, plus 14.5. Off of a bye week, Lane Kiffin, we saw it last year. His offense can move the ball against Alabama. 63-48 was the score last year. So did look towards the over, but to get to 80 points, you kind of need a clean ride there. And I do think, both of these two defenses, I don't think are very bad. So instead of going total, I'm going with the Rebels plus the 2 touchdowns. I think they keep it close. I think Alabama wins. So for the pick, Ole Miss plus 14.5. We got also at 3:30 on SEC Network. It's Troy versus South Carolina. And actually, this one's my best bet. So I'll keep it for the last game we break down. So moving down to the night game, 6 p.m. Eastern, University of Florida and University of Kentucky here in Lexington, 56 being the total. The Florida Gators minus 8 point road favorites. And this one on ESPN, 6 p.m. Eastern here. Look, Florida, a lot of people are on Florida in this game. I haven't heard one person take Kentucky. So it's kind of like the trendy pick to be betting Florida. And you can see why. That big game against Alabama, they played them very well, almost won the game in the second half. But the fact is, I don't think enough people are talking about Kentucky here. They're 4-0, 3-0 against the spread. So they've been covering numbers whenever you've been betting on them. Their quarterback, Levis, they can throw the ball now. It's something Kentucky really hasn't been able to do. We've known Kentucky in Mark Stoops, the second longest tenured head coach in the SEC. He's doing something right. He's recruiting well. And now they actually got a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field. This is an underrated Kentucky team, in my opinion. I think that they've been kind of offensively holding stuff kind of close to the vest there. And I think overall, I think they stay within 8 points. I think that the home dog is barking here. So I'm taking Kentucky for the pick +8. Mississippi State and Texas A&M, next game up, 7 p.m. Eastern. We get Texas A&M -7-point home favorites, 46 being the total. Look, Texas A&M, offensively, something's wrong. It's just not working for them. Last week, they lost to Arkansas. They gave up 440 yards on offense. And, like I said, their offense is just very bad. Mississippi State, you really don't know what you're going to get. Volatility is high with Mike Leach's squad. But, heck, volatility means you might get the good ones. So +7 here with Mississippi State. I think they come to play, and I'll take the underdog, Mississippi State Bulldogs +7, mainly because I just can't bet on Texas A&M until they figure out what's going on offensively. 7:30 Eastern on ESPNU. Vanderbilt and UConn. This is the dumpster fire bowl here. -15. Vanderbilt as the favorite, 51 being the total. Anytime Vanderbilt's laying 15, you know what that means for about their opponent. They're not very good at all. UConn, one of the worst teams in FBS. Actually, last week they played pretty solid against Wyoming. They actually almost won that game, and Wyoming's a decent football team. And Vanderbilt lost 62-0 to Georgia. Look, Vanderbilt, there's nobody on UConn's roster that likely got a scholarship offer in the SEC that Vanderbilt's in. So I'm just going roster construction here, guys. And Vanderbilt laying 15. I know it's ugly. They're laying 2 touchdowns for a reason, though. I got the Commodores at home to win going away over one of the worst programs in football, UConn. Last game here before we get to best bet, Auburn and LSU, Battle of the Tigers, late night, 9 p.m. in Baton Rouge. This one on ESPN, 55.5 being the total. LSU -3-point home favorites. This LSU team is banged up on defense. And, overall they're playing decent. But the fact is this Auburn team, I feel like they almost let one loss against Penn State become 2 losses last week. They didn't come to play. They almost lost that game outright. They almost kind of should have against Georgia State. I do think Georgia State's a little underrated. They're a team I'm looking to bet. But quarterback questions, Bo Nix, TJ Finley. I actually think that sometimes in college football, 2 quarterbacks, the old adage, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. I don't subscribe to that. I think 2 quarterbacks can actually play off of each other. And TJ Finley obviously has, experience playing in Baton Rouge in this type of atmosphere. I think Bo Nix and company, they go down there, they throw the ball around a little bit. I think they win outright, but for the pick, I'll take Auburn +3 as the underdog. So a lot of underdogs here, guys. And actually for the best bet, we'll go to the total in that Troy, South Carolina game, 3:30 SEC Network, Troy Trojans at the South Carolina Gamecocks here. Gamecocks -6.5. I do like that side, but I'm going after the total 43.5, and I'm taking the under. I bet it personally a little bit higher here, but the market move has pushed it down, and as we're recording now, a little late. Sorry getting this out late. Try to get it out a little earlier, but went to the Canes game last night, and time got away from me. But best bet 43.5 under in the Troy, South Carolina game. Troy last week lost to Louisiana Monroe. And they were actually 24-point favorites, and they lost that game. That was an ugly game from their head coach, Chip Lindsey. He's on the hot seat. They don't run really any tempo at all offensively. Their offensive production is near zero. South Carolina on the other side, they're more talented overall, top to bottom of the roster, but only snapping the ball 51 times last week. They're letting the clock really run, and they're not running much tempo at all. So neither team moving up and down the field at a quick pace, and the offensive production very low. So I'm taking the under 43.5 for the best bet. Again, guys, 17-9 on the season. Best bet's 3-0. Hopefully that moves to 4-0, 65% winners overall. I don't think that's going to continue, but if it does, it's good for our bankrolls here. So thanks for following. And also, this is going live Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, all at Drew Martin Bets. If you're liking the content, please let me know in the comments below, and please smash that like button on your way out. So, guys, do this next week as well. Come back and join me. Best of luck with your bets this weekend.